I think the point is for people to listen to that mix, right? Um,
Yeah.
to that mix and say that, oh wow, this actually sounds pretty dope. I think I might listen to more of this like in the future.
He's from Kerala, India, but was raised in Houston. He's a producer and songwriter who fuses Bollywood with R&B and hip hop. You may know him from his songs Anizzy Life or Shadow Trapped. Please welcome Anizzy to the podcast. How are you doing today?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Excited to have this chat with you and learn a bit more about like your roots and your music.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. So, first question, just to get into it, what was your first experience with music like, or what made you first get into music?
Yeah, so my first experience with music, I would say, was when I was 8 years old. I took these tabla classes. So tabla is an Indian instrument. It's basically like Indian drums. So my instructor's name, his name was Dexter. So I started playing when I was 8, and I did that for 5 years, and I loved every minute of it. It was there was like this energy that he would give out, and every student in the class would be like so into it, and that was kind of my introduction to music, I guess. Um, and in addition to that, I would love singing as well. I took some singing classes, so I did that for a few years, and I think that's when I kind of knew that music was my thing, and it's what I wanted to do. So
Yeah,
honestly, ever since I was 8, I think that's when I knew.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so, discovering singing or songwriting as something you want to do, how did you then find out about like producing and the production side of music and sort of wanting to be involved in both sides of that?
Yeah, so I got introduced to that, I think when I was in college. So, I mean, high school came around and I kind of started thinking about it more.
Hmm.
'Cause I'm about to go to college and I need to know like what I'm gonna do. So, um, I knew like I had a plan, I guess, in high school. Once I have enough money, get a I don't know, like get a part-time job and earn enough money, maybe I can buy myself some equipment and all that. Which is what it ended up happening in college. I got a part-time job, and that's basically how I afforded everything. Um, music production, I would say, like I did some research on it, and I found out like the different opportunities, and um, researched and found out I can either be a producer or I could be like a singer or I could be both. I like both, so I was like, you know what, might as well just do them both. So
Yeah.
I got started around like sophomore year. My sister bought me this Ableton music pad. So shout out to her for helping me get started. And I just started producing, man. Like just started messing around with it. Um, yeah, that's what I knew.
Yeah. And I know, like, for, like, college and beyond as a career, your family started to, like, sort of voice some concerns about picking music as a career just because it's so, like, it's not guaranteed at all, It's a very hard
Yeah,
industry to break into. What other sort of jobs or careers were a possibility for you outside of music?
yeah. So that's part of the reason why I majored in business in college. Um,
Mhm.
honestly, like with me, I'm a really determined and motivated guy, right? So I kept on telling myself, if this I never told myself if this doesn't work out, then I'll do this. I always told myself when I make it, because
Yeah.
that's the mindset that we have to get in. But my parents were really not for me, going all in on music. So that's why I majored in business. Got my bachelor's in supply chain, just so, in case things don't work out, then I have that as a backup. So um, they were. I first told them about my desire to be in music as a career in high school, and obviously they didn't take it well the first time. They're like, "Nah, you can't
Yeah.
do that. You can't do that." But they're a little more supportive now. They like the music I'm putting out there. They like that I'm always working on it. So yeah, just glad how things turned out.
Yeah. And, it seems like having a backup plan was important to you. Is there any other tips or advice you would give to someone in a similar situation? Maybe they're interested in music, but their family isn't so supportive. Uh, is there anything additional you might want to say to that person?
Yeah, yeah, I would say honestly, this may sound bad. I might sound like a bad influence for saying this, but I promise that's not my intention. I would say that even if they do like don't want you to get in that avenue, honestly, like at some point you got to make decisions for yourself because it's your life. Um, you don't want to be making decisions based on what other people want for you, because you need to make sure that you don't live life with any regrets or saying wishing you could have done this or wishing you didn't do this. So I would say, like, if your parents don't want you to do it, if you really want to do it, then I say just do what your heart is telling you to do. Maybe they'll come around. Maybe try to compromise with them and work something out. But yeah, that's honestly my advice. I know it sounds bad, but I promise it'll work out in the end.
Yeah. Yeah. And so once you started making music, how did you sort of come up with the name Anizzy to go by? How did you take on that name?
So that's actually a good question. So I think it was around sophomore year. It's when I started discovering my sound and finding out what genre I wanted to work with, and overall just taking my music career like even more seriously, like to the next level. So I was actually I had a lot of anxiety problems sophomore year of college. I would have so many panic attacks, and I would always just shut myself in my room and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So the only thing that kept me going is thinking about music and making music and writing lyrics and all that stuff. So honestly, part of the reason is because I couldn't think of a name. But one day I was just sitting down and in my room, and I was like, I started this because of my anxiety. Like the only thing that gets me going is working on music. Otherwise, I feel really uneasy. And then that's when it hit me. I was like, "Oh, okay, Anizzy." It's kind of similar to my first name, Aniket. So yeah, part of
Yeah.
it was
So
that I was running out of ideas, but it kind of relates. So
yeah, yeah. And so, it might have been that time in sophomore year or another time, talking with your family. Is there ever a moment that made you second guess music or made you think about, quitting or taking a break and focusing on something else?
oh no, no, absolutely not. Music is the only thing that kept me going. Actually, whenever I had a bad day or I don't know, maybe if I wasn't just feeling it, I would automatically go to music. I'd listen to music or start working on a beat, writing lyrics. Um, yeah, that's honestly like my go-to when I need to start when I need to feel better.
Yeah. Are you a music artist trying to find a way to get your music on as many streaming platforms as possible? Then check out DistroKid. DistroKid is a super user-friendly and super easy-to-use service that will make your music available in stores like Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube, Snapchat, everything. Everything you could imagine, it's available. People will even be able to add your songs into their Instagram stories. DistroKid helps you with the distribution, monetization, and promotion of all of your music. Use the link in the description of this video for 7% off any DistroKid package you want. Pick from musician packages designed to help artists get their own music out there, or even get a label package where you can manage up to 100 artists from one profile. So that's more for like managers, labels, and you can also get the musician package that I mentioned earlier, which is more for artists, producers, things like that. And super easy, and you can get 7% off any package right now with the link in the description of this video. So once again, if you're looking for a way to get your music on as many streaming platforms as possible, I'm talking any platform you can think of, get DistroKid and get 7% off right now with the link in the description. Back to the program. It really seems like, your drive to keep going with music despite challenges, that just seems like a great mindset you're in, some great perseverance. Is there any person, maybe another artist, someone in your family that instilled that in you, or did you just sort of learn that on your own?
Um, my family didn't really do that because at first they weren't, you know, that supportive.
Yeah,
Uh, I will say, like one of the biggest influences in my music is the Weeknd. God, I love the Weeknd, man. He mixes, modern sounds like modern R&B, hip hop sounds with 80s sounds. So I think that
yeah,
was like a unique approach to like how he makes music. But honestly, what really like motivated me and keeps me driven is the fact that um that my people are like underrepresented. So I'm from India, right? And honestly, I think that Indians are highly underestimated in their talents and skills. I feel like when people I don't know, when people see an Indian guy or think of an Indian person, their mind doesn't go to like, "Oh man, he's really talented in music and all that stuff." I feel like
yeah,
their mind goes to like one thing, right? So, that's what I'm trying to do, like that's what motivated me. I'm trying to show people that, hey, look, this is not all we are. We're more than this. We're more talented than you think. And specifically, I'm from South India, and I feel like South Indians are really underrepresented. Um, I feel like people don't even know about our culture and our traditions, what we can do. Um, so that's another thing, I'm just trying to show people like, hey, look, this this is this is me, like this is what I can do,
yeah, yeah.
and I'm just trying to open up their minds a little bit, So um,
You're using your career almost to share, a light on your culture and where you're from.
right, yeah, and hopefully, I hope that leads to opportunities for other people like me, other South Indians if they want to. They may be feeling the same way, maybe they're like, oh man, the world doesn't think won't ever give me a chance. So what's the point? I don't want them to stop dreaming like that. You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah,
I'm just trying to open up open up opportunities for other people like me as well.
yeah. And while trying to grow your music and trying to gain a platform, have you utilized social media at all to try and share your music and spread it that way?
Yeah, no, I'm always on Instagram posting, right?
Yeah,
Um I don't really use like Facebook, Snapchat, even though I probably should be using them. Um but like I'm just like I'm in the beginning stages right now, so obviously I'll start to use them more. But
yeah,
yeah, no, I'm always on Instagram, like promoting my stuff, putting out content out there. So yeah.
yeah. Well, a lot of artists now, back to what you were sort of saying with the weekend. He brought in this like 80s sound where back then it was a lot of, full length albums, lots of like album after album, and now it almost seems like the music industry is getting shorter. Artists are coming out with more singles, songs can be like a minute and a half or 2 minutes. So,
Yeah.
do you think like this sort of integration of social media into the industry is good? That it's highlighting more artists that can share their talents, or is it sort of making music more like quantity over quality?
I think it's a little of both, honestly. It's obviously like when you're starting out as an artist, you aren't like fully developed, I guess, right? So
Yeah,
like you can make great music, but you can do it even better. So I think one of the key factors is always making music and always trying to make it sound better, right? Because the better the music it is, the more people will be like engaged. Um, and then social media, like this is 2022. Our generation is on social media every day. Like
Yeah,
we won't be able to live without it. It's not like the olden days where people like post flyers or something like that. So
yeah. Post
we're
ads in
always
the newspaper.
right, yeah. Um, so yeah, I think that artists should utilize both of those. And I think the results will come.
Mhm. And just for you personally, when you're coming up with a new song, like you said, you try to think of lyrics or start making a new beat. What does that creative process look like for you? Do you try to have lyrics and make an instrumental that fits that? Do you start with the instrumental first? What does your process look like?
Man, I struggle with that a lot. It's the I think like one of the most difficult aspects of making a beat is getting started.
Yeah.
You don't know like what sound you want to start with, right? So, um, but usually like my approach is make the beat first. So I'll find, I don't know, different sounds. Uh, I'll like load up different drum kits and make a beat out of that, and line it all up. And then afterwards I'll make the lyrics, which is also a really difficult thing for me, right? I think I
Yeah.
could definitely like learn more on that. Um, so after I write the lyrics, then that's when I go to the studios and record the vocals and get it mixed and mastered and stuff. So, but
Yeah.
when I do like make the instrumentals, uh, I use like I tend to mix modern R&B and hip hop sounds with Bollywood sounds. I have like 3 Bollywood packs that are loaded with, different sounds. So I just kind of experiment with those, kind of create that cultural mix, right? So
Yeah.
it helps bring awareness, like I was saying earlier, like it helps bring awareness to who we are as Indian people and what we can do, and what it sounds like when you mix Indian sounds and traditional hip hop
Yeah.
sounds. It creates something unique and beautiful. So that's my approach when I make music.
Hmm. And when you're trying to come up with something new, do you find inspiration anywhere, like maybe other artists or anything like that? And if you do, how do you sort of put your own spin on it or balance that inspiration with your own sound?
Yeah, so earlier, like I said, the Weeknd is a great influence, and I also look at like other Bollywood artists. Um, y'all may not. I don't know if your viewers will know, but one of the famous Bollywood artists is Arjit Singh. He's really good singer, and I'm just always thinking in my mind, like what if this were to be mixed with like an American song, like I'm
Yeah,
always playing that in my head. So that's kind of what influences me when I make music. I was like, why don't I try it, see how it sounds, and ends up sounding really good. So um, yeah, man, I just always listen to those two. Listening to like their music kind of gives me ideas on how I want to approach it. Obviously, I'm not gonna replicate their music, right? Because I want to
yeah,
be my own person and my own version, but they definitely help with the creative process for sure.
yeah. And from your own like releases and your own music, is there a song of yours that performed better or worse than you initially thought that it would?
Yeah, man, those I hate it when that happens. There was like a couple of songs I guess where I guess the vocals could have been better.
Yeah,
But as I said, it's a learning process, right? So you put out music. If you don't like it, find out what went wrong so that you know not to make that same mistake next time you release it. And that's how you get better at making music, right? Making
yeah,
mistakes, getting comfortable, learning from it, and doing it better the next time. So yeah.
yeah. And throughout this whole time, we've talked about you mixing Bollywood and hip hop and creating this like unique fusion of sounds. Do you have a song out now that you think really exemplifies that, or like you could show people like, yeah, this is what my sound looks like.
Yeah, yeah. So there's so the last single that I released, uh one of the elements of the sounds in that song were these Bollywood strings, and I combined them with like R&B synths and hip hop sounds. So I think
Yeah,
that's one of the songs that really showcases what that mix of culture sounds like. Um, and I have some other songs too. This I lost track of them, but it's it's all out on Spotify, and I have more that I'm making right now. I have an EP coming out in January, and some of those tracks, has that mix as well. So, man, I'm
yeah,
excited to put it
yeah,
out and have people listen to it and show them what it really sounds like.
yeah, and I'll definitely keep an eye out for that once it comes out. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Bond Touch. Bond Touch is committed to creating healthier and happier relationships, and in order to achieve that, they created the Bond Touch. This bracelet is designed to bridge the distance between relationships by enabling touch to be sent over any distance. The app and services that come with the bracelet provide the intimate space relationships need to have fun, learn, and grow. Bond Touch has over 1 million users and averages 2.5 million touches every week. The longest distance ever recorded between two touch band users were 12,000 miles. Use a Bond Touch to send a touch to a loved one wherever, whenever. Defeat the distance by using Bond Touch's app and bracelet to connect with others. Just wear a bracelet of your own that's paired with another and touch the screen to send their band vibrations that mimic your touch. Keep a special someone close with every touch kept in the app ready for replay. Decorate your devotion with unique styles, customizable bands, and custom message colors. Learn more about all features of the Bond Touch itself at bond-touch.com and use my discount code BONDBBHeroic at checkout for 5% off any Bond Touch order. Go order a Bond Touch More, or a Bond Heart now and use code BONDBBHeroic for 5% off your order at checkout. That EP include and just your career as a whole, is there when you sit down to write a song, is there any, like, message you hope to convey through your songwriting, or does that sort of just change song to song?
Um, I guess it depends on like the theme of the album, right? Like if I'm going for a dark and sad theme or a happy theme, right? So, but in either case, I think the point is for people to listen to that mix, right? Um,
Yeah,
to that mix and say that, oh wow, this actually sounds pretty dope. I think I might listen to more of this like in the future. So, um, regarding like my lyrics and stuff, usually I just draw it. Lyrics are based on my personal life and personal experiences. Um, but like I said, I use that mix of Bollywood and American sounds to convey my lyrics. So, yeah.
yeah. And what sort of, I guess, level do you wanna reach with your music? Like, what heights do you wanna achieve with your career? Because it's been there's been a whole myriad of, "Oh, I just wanna, like, make enough to live off of it and it be my primary source of income," and others are like, "Yeah, I wanna be, like, top of the game, like, selling out arenas." So what, I guess, is your ultimate goal with your music career?
Top of the game, man. Always top of the game. Always striving for the
Yeah,
top.
yeah,
Yeah. It's I mean it's a long process, right? But as long as you keep working on it and um always find, opportunities to grow and learn and just don't stop, eventually you'll
yeah.
get there.
It's a long process, but there's, a reason all these artists that are at the top of the game have been doing music for so long. It's because it's a long process. And so,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. And so now I guess if you could make a song with any artist in the world, like collaborate with anyone, who would you want to collaborate with?
The Weekend, man.
Yeah,
100%. I love that guy, man. I feel like he has a really good voice, right? And the way he creates like a unique combination of sounds, it's like people would never think that
Yeah.
80s music would go well with modern sounds. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like with I kind of had the same mentality with like mixing Bollywood and American music. So yeah, man, The Weekend for sure. I feel like we could put something something really good.
Yeah. And like for the live performance aspect of music, do you have any sort of like dream venue that you'd want to play your music at? It could be, an arena or like a festival you want to play. What would be your like favorite place to perform your music?
Um, Honestly, I would want to start in Houston with my first performance. I grew up
Hmm.
here. Um, this is home, so this is where it all started, right? So I would want to. I don't need like a festival or anything. I would say like performing on a stage like any other artist, as long
Yeah,
as it's in Houston. I think I'd be happy with that.
yeah. And I mean, just the way this conversation has gone, I think I know The Weeknd's gonna be up there, but if you had like a top 3 favorite bands or artists, who would those other 2 be along with The Weeknd?
Top three. So it would be The Weeknd, J. Cole, and Travis Scott.
Mhm.
J. Cole,
So yeah.
um, man, his lyrics go off, right? I love listening to his lyrics. And then Travis Scott is just like, man, he got lit music out there, man. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, there are a couple of songs where, like, you can't help it, but if it gets played, you're hyped up, you're in a more energetic mood, you're ready to go do something.
Yeah, yeah, they really give that energy out, man. It's
Yeah,
important as an artist to really hype up the fans, right? Get them energized and all that.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
And so is there a song of yours that you've released that's your favorite?
Um, yeah, yeah, I would say that Passion is my favorite song. I collabed with one of my friends named Will. He lives in Austin. He produced the beat, right, the instrumental, and I put vocals on it, and that was my first collab with another artist, and
Yeah.
it just turned out really good. Like the sound really good, the vocals came out really good, and it has it's a really like energetic hype type of song. So I think yeah, if I were to choose a favorite, that would definitely be my favorite.
Yeah, and what was that experience like, collaborating with someone rather than keeping it, more to yourself and having, like, an individual process?
Oh man, it was awesome. It's good to like share ideas with another artist because
Yeah,
you kind of learn from them, right? So whenever you make music, you think back to that time and you use it for yourself. But it's fun, man. It's exchanging ideas like that, learning from each other. It's definitely a good learning, good growth experience. So yeah, man, it's always fun.
yeah. And so, uh, your latest release on Spotify, can you just tell it was a single, what was the story behind that? Just let us know a little more about, like, what went into making that song and, yeah, how you feel about it.
Yeah, so the last single was called "The Return." And that's gonna be part of another EP that I'm dropping after this one. So
You got
stay
a
tuned.
lot coming up.
Yeah, a lot in the works. But I made that song when I came back from vacation with my friends. So I work a 9 to 5 job here to make some money to afford all this stuff in music, and I hate it. It's I wake up every day. I was like, oh god, I gotta head to this job, but
Yeah,
I gotta do what I gotta do to reach my
pay the
goals.
bills.
Yeah, to pay the bills. Um, but whenever I'm outside of work, right, outside of home, traveling and seeing the world with my friends, feel like I feel like myself, right? Like I feel like really free and there's no like stress or no worries. It's just me having a good time with my boys. So I came back, from vacation and the first room that I went to was the one where I got my work monitors all set up and I'm just looking, I'm like, God, man, I gotta go back to this. So that's what the
Yeah,
song was about, right? Like the return meaning like me returning home.
the return to work, you know?
Return to work, yeah. The
Yeah,
return to this shitty life that I so hate, but I gotta keep doing it. So yeah, that's what it was about.
yeah. And this next EP that's coming out in January, what can you tell us about that? Is there a theme or a message behind it? Anything like that? How many? I mean, you don't have to tell us, but if you're open to letting us know how many songs are going to be on it, anything like that, anything you can tell us about the upcoming project.
Yeah, I can tell you that it's about so it's gonna be called You Against Me. So
Hmm.
the theme of that one is more dark than it is happy, and
Yeah,
it's just about like all the people in my life that have like stabbed me in the back or didn't treat me with respect or never like appreciated me. But I guess like the point is you against me, like it's a fight, right? It's them versus me,
yeah,
and it's kind of like spoiler alert, I win in the end, like I win the fight. So
yeah.
um that's like the main meaning of the EP, and that's all I'm gonna say for now. There's gonna be some press
Okay.
releases coming out, so
Yeah,
uh, you know, if y'all are interested, y'all can read about that. I'll be posting on my Instagram, like when they release and stuff. So yeah, excited to drop that one.
yeah. Well, I'll definitely keep an eye out for that and, the EP after whenever that ends up coming out.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Those are all the questions I had for you today. Thank you so much for coming on, letting us know about these upcoming projects, about the projects you have now. Where can people find you online? Instagram, your music, anything like that? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so Instagram, my handle is Anizzy Music. Uh, I don't know if you know what. I'll drop it in the chat for you, so just in case.
All right. Yeah.
uh, yeah, Anizzy Music. Honestly, like that's the platform that I use. I don't really use Snapchat to post music. Um, but there's that, and then if you want to, take a look at my music, just search up Anizzy on Spotify, and you'll see all my songs on there. So
Yeah.
yeah, hope y'all like it.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'll leave a link to some of that down below. And thank you so much again for coming on.
Thank you, appreciate it.